Well, listeners, if you're looking for some family entertainment at the moment, there is a brand new film that has come out into cinemas that I am sure that the whole family is going to enjoy. It's called 200% Wolf, and of course, this is the follow-up to the very successful television series and also film 100% Wolf from a few years ago. And we've actually got the star of the film on the phone right now to chat a little bit about this amazing new film. Welcome to the program, Eli.
Hey man, thanks for having me. Hey everyone.
Now, Eli, 100% Wolf was so successful. We had the series first and then the movie, and now, of course, we've got 200% Wolf. How does it
Mhm.
feel for you being involved in another movie in this franchise and bringing Freddy back to life once again?
Oh, it's such an honor. It's such a pleasure. It's one of the jobs that I'm most grateful for because it's just so much bloody fun. Yeah, I just get to be like a big kid in the booth and throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks. So I hope audiences enjoy it.
So when you first landed the role of Freddy for the series, did you ever imagine that it would go on to becoming two feature films as well?
Yeah, well, actually, so what happened when what came first was the film,
Yep.
back in 2018, and then a series was made, and then a second season was made, and they're both available on ABC as well. And then when the sequel was in development and rolled around, I was just, over the moon about it because, yeah, I mean, it's definitely got that big sequel energy. They pull out all the stops. The animation is stunning and so detailed. It's world class and really, really big emotions and excellent life lessons that even I am still learning from.
You mentioned that this is a role that you are so proud of. Tell us a little bit about that, how you felt when you initially got this role. What was it about this role that made you want this role so badly?
Well, I guess like growing up, I was surrounded by animation and I was constantly on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney. I grew up with all the giant Disney classics that they threw out in the early noughties and 90s and stuff. So, yeah, being the hero in a story that's sort of in that vein was just like such an incredible opportunity. And yeah, it's just so much fun. I love Freddie and like all of his neurotic, neurotic characteristics, and it's really fun to play that sort of, you know, person that, and well, I guess he's a person and an animal as well. That he goes through all the emotions that we all do as well, and self-worth is a big takeaway in this film.
I think that is one of the most important things about this film is that what people can take away from this. I was that kind of alternative kid at high school that liked alternative music and loved heavy
Yeah.
metal and didn't really fit in. So for me, when I watch Freddy, I can actually see parts of myself in Freddy. Have you found that there's been a lot of people out there that have watched both the series and the film and now say, look, I've been that person. Have you found that over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, man, when you're a misfit, and I was too growing up, you look for anything just to feel like you belong somewhere. And even though Freddie's story sort of comes from, I think, royalty in a sense, and, like a werewolf dynasty, he never fits into that category. And, he's always being made fun of, and he's always trying to do his best and be the best version of himself. But I guess I was kind of saying earlier today, it's a lesson that he had to learn twice about, loving who you are and the skin that you're in. And I feel like that is the huge, huge takeaway this time, And I hope kids relate to that, and I hope they feel like they're enough as well.
So how did you find Freddie's voice when you first started to play this character? Was there a lot of discussion about Freddie as a character and how he should sound and how he should act, and how does that differ for you as an actor when you're doing voice acting?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to go off the sort of audition sides and all the information that they'd given me on the character, and I just was trying to make up, a walk and a talk, and how would he hold himself, and how would he say things, and how excited would he get by things. And I always felt like there was a huge cool factor to Freddie, even though he is an outcast, sort of a misfit. He's got his trusted gang of friends, but I always felt that there was a novel cool factor to him. He sort of carried himself like he had a lot of self-confidence, even in the overwhelming face of doubt and everything, you know what I mean? So if you bring in that factor and try to blend it into everything that you say and do, I think it sort of takes you on a special journey.
Now, for our listeners out there who haven't been lucky enough to see the film, and I've seen it, so I could talk a little bit about this with you, but for the listeners out there that haven't seen 200% Wolf, tell us a little bit about what happens with Freddy this time around.
Well, he gets into a spot of trouble in the film, and he sort of does something that sends shockwaves throughout his universe and his surroundings, and he has to go fix it and mend the issue, basically, because, again, he's trying to be something and someone that he's not, because he's not quite validated and happy with where he is and the skin that he's in, and, that series of events that happens because of a mistake that he makes, he has to correct, and he goes on a wild journey, places that he's never been, meets some crazy, wacky people, takes his trusted gang of friends, Hamish, Twitchy, they're all back, and I think he learns his lesson this time.
This film really takes the audience on an adventure as well. What was that like for you when you first sat down to read the script? Did it feel like you were going on an adventure as you turned the page every time?
Yeah, it definitely has that like road movie element to the sequel this time. I feel like, like I said earlier, I feel like they just pull out all the stops, you know what I mean? It just has that huge sequel energy, so you definitely feel like you're going on a ride, and it's so much fun. I feel like families and everyone alike will enjoy it because it's just such a beautiful film.
And a new character popping up there as well with Moo-Poo. Tell us a little bit about Moo-Poo, because I get the feeling that there's going to be a few people out there that are going to love that name for a start, but are also going to love the character as well. So tell us a little bit about Moo-Poo.
Moo-Poo is a moon spirit and a part of the sort of series of events, the sort of, not instigator, but I guess it's part of the series of events that needs to be corrected and remedied. He's a little sort of toddler guy that Freddy takes a shining to, and they have, a little relationship that grows throughout the film, and he really takes him under his wing, and without giving too much away, he has to sort of help Moo-Poo, kind of return.
So, Ilai, for the families out there who are going to watch this film, tell us a little bit about how it all comes together, because, of course, you get the screenplay and the animation is being done, but do you get to see any of that animation while you're in the booth, or are you in the booth and just doing the voices straight off the screenplay, off the script itself?
Yeah, that was one of the big lessons that I learned very early on when I started doing animation, is that from the very first recording, there is no pictures and there's no storyboarding done yet. So they call it a scratch record. So the first record you do, it's all just you and your own imagination, and you're just thinking and dreaming up a bunch of things, and you go through the whole script. And then the animators come along and they start to draw and storyboard, animate basically around and to your voice. And then they create the story for the images there. But then when the film is sort of kicking along and it's in a midway process, you come back, they've locked some things off, and then you then get to see some rough, sequencing, and you get to add in new things, or you get to pick up and maybe change some things. And then, that's when you start to see images. But animation, the film took 6 years to make, which is amazing. Yeah. Amazing effort. And it was 3 years on and off for just my part, voicing alone.
Wow. So what's that? Yeah. It must really feel special when you actually finally get to sit down and watch the completed project as well. Absolutely. because you wouldn't know what it's going to look like. So is that a very special moment for you?
Yeah, it is really special. I do get little sort of glimpses towards the pointy end of it. I did one final record very late last year and very early this year where everything was completely locked off and we were just correcting and putting finishing touches on some tiny moments, So I saw even a trailer kind of early on. So that was really, really exciting. But when I finally sat down and saw the whole film at Sydney Film Festival earlier this year where it had its world premiere, that was amazing. That was such a cool moment, and introducing the film as well felt very special. And yeah, I'd never seen it before, so seeing it all for the first time, I sat at the front row like a big kid. It was it was such a joy, man. So much fun.
Now, we talked a little bit before about TV shows that we grew up watching. Of course, you've got an amazing cast around you here. Jennifer Saunders, who I grew up watching on TV. We've got Samara Weaving in there. Heather Mitchell, who was actually in my favourite television show when I was a kid, Spellbinders. Tell us a little bit about this amazing cast that you've got around you, and what's that like when you finally all get together and get to talk to each other as well?
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, I hate to burst that bubble, but we've never, all been together because of the way animation works.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that Jennifer came on board and Samara returned for this one, but I think Jennifer was recorded out of London. I recorded mostly in Melbourne, some in Sydney, and yeah, I don't know where Samara recorded. I think she did maybe a couple of trips to Australia, but then the rest of it was from America. But yeah, Heather Mitchell is lovely, and funny enough, she was just here recently in Hobart, where I am right now shooting a show, because her husband is the DOP on the series BFI, so she stopped through this week to visit him. But yeah, she's very, very talented and yeah, very cool.
Definitely. Well, Ilai, we are running out of time very, very quickly. So I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to families out there who are about to head into cinemas to check out 200% Wolf?
I'd say get the biggest bucket of popcorn and frozen slushies and just let loose, leave your troubles at the door and have a good time and enjoy the film. And I hope you loll as hard as you can and weep as hard as you can in all of the beautiful, touchy, heartstring moments, because you're going to love it. It's a great film, and it's Australian animation at its best.